Hello everyone, welcome to Answer Kari. In this video, we'll continue dealing with the UPSC previous year questions which are related to the topic number system. So the first question here says, how many 5-digit prime numbers can be obtained by using all the digits from 1 till 5 without repetition of digits? So how many 5-digit prime numbers? So first, if we look at this particular question, it can seem a bit confusing as well. But the only clue here is that if we just check the sum of these numbers, it will be equal to, for example, it will be 3 plus 9. So we know that any number that will form, for example, if we form the number 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, for example, this is the one number that we form. Its sum will be divisible by 3. Like the sum here will be equal to 15. So 15 is divisible by 3, which means that this particular number will also be divisible by 3. So no matter how we arrange these particular digits, this particular number will, any number with which contains only these many digits, and that too without repetition, it will be divisible by 3 because of the divisibility rule of 3 that says that any that if the sum of the numbers is a multiple of 3 or is divisible by 3, then the number is also divisible by 3. And the definition of prime numbers is that the number is either divisible by itself or 1 and not by any other number, which means that there can be no such prime number that can be formed by using only these many digits, and that too without a repetition. Now the question says that how will it come to our mind? For example, how does it come to our mind that whether this number will be divisible by 3 or not? So first is that there is no such general rule of formation of prime numbers. And the second is that we generally limit ourselves to the prime numbers that are of 2-digit or 3-digit. We do not go more than that. So it will be pretty obvious that no one can remember such prime numbers. And the other way can be, for example, they asked us about the digit 3 here. Like the concept used was the divisibility by 3. The concept that could have been used here was also divisibility by 9 or perhaps by 11. So we must look upon the ways or perhaps the clues given in the question to find out the answer. So the answer for this question will be equal to 0, that there is no such possible number that can be made from these 5 digits without repetition, which will be a prime number. The next question says let P, Q, R and S be natural numbers. So the first thing that we know is that all these numbers are natural numbers such that P minus 2016 is equal to Q plus 2017 is equal to R minus 218 is equal to S plus 2019. Now they're asking which one of the following is the largest natural number. So इनमें से पूछ रहा है कि P, Q, R और S में से which one is the largest, which has the largest value possible in terms of natural number. Now the point here to understand is that we are equating all these values, which means that all these values are equal. So it seems pretty obvious that if we have to add something to make it equal to something, obviously that value will be smaller. But if we need to subtract a pretty good number from a particular number, which means that this particular value will be greater than the value from which to which we need to add. For example, we'll subtract, for example, I have a number 10. Then if I have to add 7 to a particular number to make 10, then obviously this particular number will be lesser. But if I need to subtract perhaps 6 from a particular number to make it 10, obviously this number will be greater than. This is the basic concept that is used here in this case. And obviously जितना ज़्यादा हमें subtract करना पड़ रहा है, and the greater is the number. Higher the value of the number that we are subtracting, the greater will be the number from which we are subtracting to equate it to the another value. And obviously addition वाला तो कोई option हो ही नहीं सकता, which means that S does not have the greatest value and Q also. Now out of P and R, if we look upon, the same thing. Higher the value of the number that we are subtracting from, the greater will be the value of this particular number. So the answer here will be equal to R. That is, R is the largest natural number. तो R की जो value है वो सबसे ज़्यादा है. Only then, जितना ज़्यादा हम उसमें subtract करेंगे तब भी जो residue हमारे पास बच रहा है, that will be a particular number जो इन सबसे equal होएगा. And after that, if we check, R से छोटी value will be of P. And after that it will be of Q, and the least value will be of S. जिसमें जितना ज़्यादा add करे, it means वो number उतना ज़्यादा छोटा है, to equate it to a particular value. So here the answer for this question is equal to the C part, that is R. This question present here says, let A3, B, C and D, E, 2, F be 4-digit numbers where each letter represents a different digit greater than 3. So basically these are two numbers whose letters denote different digits. One point is that all these letters are for different digits, like no digit gets repeated. And second thing is that all these letters have a value greater than 3. For example, they can either be 7, 9, or perhaps 5, 4, but they cannot be 2, 1 and 0. This is another condition. Then the third thing says, if the sum of the numbers is this, then what will be the difference between the values of A and D? So to find out the difference between the values of A and D, we must know कि और D की values क्या हैं, right? Only then can you find out the difference after knowing the values of A and D. So since we know that the biggest clue is that this sum is equal to this, so we'll just write these two numbers in this form, A3BC, and then we have DE2F. So we know that the sum is equal to 15902. Now obviously since we start from the right side in like the addition case, we start from the units place, right? So first we'll take up C and F. So now C plus F will be equal to either 2, or it can be 12, it can be 22 and so on, right? We do not know what is the value present here. At first if we look, we can think that it is 2, but we look upon the reasons as well, that why it is not 2. So here the value of C plus F will be equal to 12, and the reason for this is, see, first it cannot be 2 because it is clearly given here that the values of these particular letters here is greater than 3, right? It cannot be smaller than 3, and 2 will be made up only after either we add 1 and 1 or we add 2 and 0, right? Next, why it cannot be 22 is because, see, the highest value that these two letters can take is 9 and 9. And if we add 9 plus 9, what we'll get is 18. So the value cannot be greater than 18 here, so it cannot be any other number as well. It will clearly be equal to 12, the number that is present here. So once we write 2 here, we'll take one carry here. And to find out the value of B here, see, 2 plus 1 will automatically be equal to 3. So what should we add to 3? For example, we'll add B to 3, right? Or perhaps 3 to B. So here it will be equal to 10. Obviously it cannot be 0 and it cannot be 20 as well. And obviously it cannot be 20 as well. The reason clearly showed here. So here it will be equal to 10. So first we'll write carry here. Then obviously the value of B will be equal to 7 because 7 plus 3 will be equal to 10. So we know that B here is equal to 7. So हमें B की value तो पता लग गई. Then after we focus upon EC, mainly we need to focus upon the values of A and D. But side by side, all the values that we can make up for, it will be better for us as well. For example, in case of C and F, the possible values of C and F can be like either 8 and 4 because 8 plus 4 is equal to 12. It cannot be 6 and 6 because see, it says right, the letters should have different digit values. So these two letters cannot have the same value, that is 6. So another case that can be is, we can add 7 and 5. This can be the value, right, after adding, and then we'll get this. There can be no other value possible for C and F. Then B we know is 7 for sure. Then obviously this value automatically gets cancelled. So it will be 8 and 4. And the reason is because 7 is for sure used here. Right? B ka we are sure that the value of B is equal to 7. But C and F we aren't sure of its value. But we are sure now. The reason being because 7 is already used here and the letters have different digit values. So 7 cannot be repeated here. So the value of C and F will be 8 and 4. But we do not know कि C 8 hai ya 4 hai. And same goes for F as well. Then if we focus upon the letter E here, so what should be added to the letter E? See, 4 is added to the letter E to make up 9. Again, this cannot be 19, we know the reason. So what should be added to 4 to make up 9? The value of E will be equal to 5. Right? So we know the value of 8 is equal to 5. So 5 plus 4 will be equal to 9. Now the last thing that we know is A plus D, the addition of A and D should give us 15. The possible values of A and D they can be like 6 plus 9 or they can be 8 and 7. Now obviously it will be 6 and 9 and not 8 and 7. The reason being we have already used 7 and we have also already used 8. Or again मैं से एक भी होता, for example here we have both the digits. But even if it was just one digit repeating, even then this value could not have been possible. For example, it happened here in this case. That is the reason why value of A and D will be equal to 6 and 9. So we do not know that A is 6 hai ya 9 hai, or perhaps D is 6. We do not know anything. But what we know is that the value of A and D is 6 and 9, not respectively, but it is 6 and 9. And all they are asking us is the difference. Obviously, we'll be taking up the positive difference that will be equal to 3. Right? So the answer for this question will be equal to 3. This is the approach that we took in this question. So we'll just go step by step, focusing on every detail that is given in the question. And after focusing on the details, we'll just see here we focused upon the carrying part. The carry part is very important, right? The numbers that can be formed, and also we focused upon the digits, plus all the rest information and clues given in the question. So step by step, if we follow and just keep focusing upon what the question is asking, then we can solve these type of questions. Now this question says in this particular sum, for which digit does this particular symbol stand as cross symbol? So they have given us the symbol. Now one way of doing this question is by doing it by options. For example, we put the values here and then we check that whether this thing is correct or not. And the another thing is, so I will try to do this particular question by taking any one option first, and after that we'll check it by another way, that is the actual way of forming numbers, right? So we'll just open the numbers in this particular way, like we'll suppose this particular symbol to be equal to x. So I'll explain it, but first dealing with the first option, the first way of doing this. So we can take any value. For example, if we take the value 2 in this case. So first, obviously, when we add, what we take is we take the units placed in adding, right? So it will be 2 plus 2. We are not focusing upon the tens or the hundreds place for now. We are just focusing upon the units place. So 2 plus 2 will be 4. Then it will be 6, then 8, and then 9. So obviously this particular thing will be 9. And here it says that the option, whatever option or whatever digit we are taking should be present here. But when we calculate it by 2, the option that comes, the digit that comes here is 9 and not 2. So obviously A is not the correct option. The same way we can do by other options as well. And another way is by forming numbers. For example, if I take this symbol to be equal to x, then it will be x plus 10, because see, plus 10 into 1, because 1 is present at the tens place, so we'll multiply by 10 and then plus the face value of the digit. Plus we'll do x because x is present at the units place. Then we'll have 5, so like 10 into 5 we'll have, plus we'll have x. Then after adding again, we'll have 10x plus x plus 10x plus 1. So this should be equal to 100 into 1 plus 10 into x plus x. So you have formed this whole equation. Obviously, this method will be a bit lengthier, and this will be a bit quicker method, like solving by options. So here, after we add these, so first we'll cancel out the x, like x, and x. This here will be equal to 4x plus 20x, which would be equal to 10, and then we have 50 here, and then we have 1. So this will be equal to 61, and on this side we have 100 plus 11x. So after solving for x here, we'll get, like, this will be 24x, and then 24x minus 11x will be equal to 13x. So now we'll subtract 61 from 100, so we'll get 39. So x here will be equal to 3, which means that 3 is the correct option here. So if we do this thing by options as well, this will be equal to 6 and then 9 and then 12 plus 3. So again 3 will be present at the unit space, and same we can check for the tens place as well, right, after adding. So these are the two options, and the answer for this question will be equal to 3. Thank you.